I was asking, I was like, bitch, y'all hoes sleep? Well, if y'all get up, honey. Did y'all watch the debate? You didn't watch the debate? Did y'all sleep? Hi, baby. Hey, boo. Hey, Hormona Lisa. Hormona Lisa. Hi. Hi, niece. This is my niece, Hormona Lisa, honey. So y'all watched the debate, girl? What did you get? Did you gag, girl? Did you gag? You watched it? Girl, was it like, hey, King Lou? First of all, baby, I gagged. Well, I'm here at the house. I'm just here at the house. I was watching the debate. And I did Don Lemon show. Girl, when I tell you, I ain't even gonna tell y'all no lie. Like, for real, for real. Let me turn on some light, girl. Let me turn on some light in this bitch, girl. Mama, turn that light on over there. Then we gonna go.
Oh, you lying? I cut this off.
Yeah, I'm talking about the debate real quick. Because I went on Don Lemon show. Did you watch this? You was down in the room asleep, girl.
I fell asleep on something.
Girl.
No Tylenol, man.
You did? What time, what you call the people gotta be here? They gotta be here at 8.
So do I stay on here tonight?
I don't know, mama.
You can sleep on here, then you get up and go when you afterwards.
I gotta get my nails done up in the morning. Turn the light on over there, mama. Please. No, just saying. Yeah, I'm at my house. Yeah, it is, because they done what you call it. They did something with the air conditioning. They did the coils. They cleaned the coils and all that type of stuff. That was the guy told me he did today. But yeah, he cleaned the coils and all that kind of stuff today. Okay, so if y'all ask me who won the debate, if you watched the Don Lemon show that I was just on a little while ago, it's not that Trump won, mama. It's just that he don't know how to do nothing. He's still dumb. It's just it gave very much so that that Joe is 80. It gave Joe is very 80, girl. Very 80. Girl, he's very 80 years old. Very 80. Very 90. Very girl. Very girl body resting. And he wasn't quick enough. You know what I'm saying? He needed to be quicker. Like, he wanted to be, like, quicker. He needed to be faster. And then, like, there was so many jabs that he did. Like, when I was sitting there watching it and I was taking notes, and I was like, well, girl, no, it's just like Trump was not answering any of the questions. I'm like, girl, why are you not answering any of the questions? Like, the girls are asking you the question, especially when he was talking about the border. So I was just like, okay, so we talking about the border, and when we talking about the illegal immigrants and stuff like that. Like, so, girl, how are you gonna get the illegal immigrants? How are you gonna do it? Like, how are you gonna get the illegal immigrants? Are you gonna bust in there while the children's sleeping? Are you gonna round them all up? Because it was given very much so, very concentration camp to me. Like, listening to it, I was like, girl, this is given very concentration camp. Oh, we're gonna get them out. We're gonna get them immediately. We're gonna get them out of the country immediately. Like, girl, what the fuck? Okay. And then the child care question, like when they asked him the child care question, I was like, are you ever going to answer the question? Like, are you ever going to answer the question, girl? Then, he said something about, they went to arguing back and forth about who was the better president and who
That's
this.
his main thing.
That's, yes, but see, mama,
That's
he
what his focus
gonna
is.
grab people like that because, that's what they want to debate about. You got to realize when a president inherits the job, he inherits the problems of the last president. And so, he started talking about, I'm like, what are black jobs? What are black jobs? Like, what is that? What are black jobs?
He don't care for black people.
What are black jobs, girl? What's that? What is, and then it was just like watching it, I just felt the spirit of division. Like everything was a division. Was just division. He was just saying like, oh, well, the immigrants are here taking the jobs from the blacks. And I was like, it was a lot of stuff going on. And then I just want to, he did want to say nigga job.
They let him back in. They gonna
Well, mama, listen.
It's gonna be what the Bible say. That's all I can say.
Stop.
I'm just saying.
No, stop.
Don't
Stop. Just do that. They started talking about the Palestine and all that stuff, and it's just like, girl, it's just like Joe just wasn't on it. Just wasn't. But he what y'all expect? He 80, girl. Ooh. Oh my God. Thank you, babe. I mean, he's 80. So, like, what do you expect? The man is 80 years old. Like, hey, Google, how old is Joe Biden?
Joe Biden is 81 years old.
He's 81. Hey, Rock Trey, that's not true. Don't do that. Ooh, Rock Trey, I got to call you after this. Baby, I got to call you after this, honey. Damn, he 81. So if he get in there 4 years, he'll be 85, like 90 years old. Hey, hey, Google, how old is Donald Trump?
78 years old.
Well, damn, he ain't but 3 years younger. Damn, 78, 79, 80, 81. So he was 3 years older. You say Joe forgave everything but your student loans? You say we got to stop focusing on Trump, they age. But this is the gagging part. Now, when we talked about this on Don Lemon Show, they made really valid points on the show, but we too far in the game to try to rally and get another person, like another Democratic person, to like represent the party. You know what I'm saying? Like, we too far down. Like, we ain't. But how many months is it to November? But June, July, August, September, October, November. Girl, 5 months? Oh my God. Oh my God. We said we must find that voting is worse than not voting. Correct, because I'm still gonna vote for. I just can't have. I'm just not going to participate in not using my vote, and I'm going to get in my car and I'm going to go vote. I'm going to get in my car and I'm going to go vote, and I'm definitely not voting for Trump. Just like definitely not at all. And so I'm not going to just make it easy like that to help him win. Mama, what is that right there? What that is? On top of the cabinet. What is that?
What are you talking about?
You don't see that right there on the cabinet? What that is?
I have no idea. Somebody that look like a stain.
Yeah, what is
I
that?
don't know. It may be a bug.
It
I
is.
don't know.
I'm definitely voted. I'm definitely voting blue. Yes, nobody talked about. I didn't see anybody talk about anything LBGTQIA. I didn't see anybody talk about anything Project 2025. Nothing. I didn't see. I didn't see any of those questions. And like the most important thing to me that I would love to have had them, talk about would have been Project 2025. That was that's like the most important thing that I was yeah, I'm still for Joe. I mean, hold on.
What is that? Yeah, I don't know. It may be a bug.
Watch out, Mom. Oh,
It's a fly, a bug.
it's a fly.
That was a big fly.
Yeah, I'm like, damn, what is that?
Is this the old one you took off?
Yeah.
You might as well sleep over there too. Cause you don't get over here time enough to make mix with people.
I gotta wash some because I gotta wash some travel stuff.
You did, I dried that stuff you put in
Yeah.
here. It's already dried.
Uh,
But you should pack the night of.
girl, Vanessa, you crazy. Talking about vote red, girl. You is crazy. Hey, Black Gay Weddings. The moderators were to moderate, but they didn't say, "Hey, Moniece, you say you gotta go with Trump." Oh my God, no, sister, no, sister, you need to go and look. Okay, listen, sister, please, 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 go look up Project 2025, sister, please. Before you make that statement and before you make that, please, sister, go look up. I implore you to go look up Project 2025. It ain't just about the faggots. Cause I know a lot of people say, well, I ain't gay, I ain't trans, and it ain't just about that. It's about colored folk. It's about women. It's about anything that ain't white and Christian. Sister, please, please, I'm on my knees, on my big knees. Please, sister, go look up Project 2025. Go look at go look at the outlines and the plans for Project 2025. Please don't. Please don't make that mistake. Please. Even Joe is sleepy. No shade, Joe is sleepy, girl. Joe sleepy? He is. But please, please, please go look up Project 2025. Just read through it and just gag when you really see the things in there. Like, girl, I'm telling you, it's a gag. Oh my God, it's a gag. Well, I understand that. But sister, okay, let me add you.
They don't do it anymore.
No. You gotta please, sister, please read it. Please. Oh my God. Don't let them people do this, please. Hey,
I've been,
babe.
hi, sister. I've been moving all day, so I look really
It's all
crusty.
right, child. I'm still trying to move over here in my house.
You look
Sister, please.
amazing.
Please don't do it. No.
Okay, I just want to say this really quickly before I unload this or before I go load this last U-Haul and take it to the house.
Okay.
I just want to say this. As a studying, not practicing, not barred law student, I didn't have a choice but to study Project 25, right? And so what I really want our people to do a better job at is understanding the the difference between the president and the House and the Senate, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Because what a lot of us don't know is that a president doesn't have the power to do anything but veto, which is deny, or pass a law, right? But the House and the Senate have to duke it out first before the president says, I veto this, go back to the drawing board.
Right,
Or,
right.
okay,
Hmm.
y'all finally, fought to the death and I'm okay with this particular proposal, I'll pass it, right? The only other power a president has is to go to war. And so there are multiple Republican candidates, just like there are multiple Democratic candidates.
Hmm.
But it's like I compare it to the music industry, which you are very well versed in and as well, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And the comparison that I always make is this: we don't, you are a musician, you have an ear, you have talent. And so it's always going to be hard for you to readily accept these mumble rappers that come into the industry, whatever people want to call them, industry plants, whatever, right? Because you have an ear.
Hmm.
But if you're somebody that does what you don't have a choice but to stay current on what is considered popular.
Right.
And so by the end of a week or two, all the songs you hate, you know all the words to, because that's all that's being force fed to you. There
Yeah,
are other candidates, right?
it
Both
is.
Democratic and Republic, but we only know of Sleepy Joe and the cheese nip with lips, right? That's all we know. And so when those are the candidates that we see, having these debates, oh, mercy, I'm sorry. When those are the only candidates that we see having debates, we tend to forget that there are other candidates. We also tend to forget that we have to vote in the judges. We have to vote in, the
Yep.
DAs. We
Hmm.
have to vote
Hmm.
in the House. We have to vote in the Senate. We have to do that. And if you have a predominantly Democratic House and Senate, there's only so far a Republican president can go. Now, I cannot lie. The reason I'm going to vote Republican is because I have faith that those of us who have educated ourselves are going to vote in a predominantly blue or Democratic House or Senate. And I feel like at that point, no president can just pass Project 25. That has to
Well,
that has to be battled out between the House and the Senate. Trump can't just win the election and say, and now for Project 25. Like, it doesn't work that way.
I mean, I understand how it works, but
Right?
like, so
I
in
know
the
you do.
yeah, so in the local elections,
Mhm.
right? So have you went out and voted like in the local elections and
My
stuff? So
prelims, yes, I did
so
that.
you voted. So you've already
I voted
voted all.
Democratic for the DAs. I voted Democratic for House. I voted Democratic for Senate. I voted Democratic for the mayor. I voted Democratic for everything that really is going to count. Where, in terms of where the law, where the legislation is actually fought for. But I do agree with Republican policies, and they're gonna chew my ass up for this. But I can't lie. I do agree with Republican policies on immigration, and I do agree with public policies on transgender rights for minors, not for grown-ups, but for minors. In
But see,
terms in terms of the hormonal, like children being allowed to say, "Oh, I want to hormonally transition right now," or "I want to have a gender reassignment right now at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12." I don't feel that that is a decision a minor child should be able to make. Now, an
I
adult, all for it.
yeah, I understand your viewpoint on that, but what people don't understand is like when just like if we use Zaya Wade as an example, because that was like a huge example that everybody.
Mhm.
Zaya
Mhm.
just said that I feel that I'm trans.
Mhm.
I don't think that they went to medically trying to change her medically. They just allowed
Mhm.
her to identify as trans,
Mhm.
and here's what I think what they've done. They've used us trans people as propaganda, and have tried to use us as fear mongers with a lot of people saying like, well, you know, trans in the bathroom and and the kids are being mutilated, and when all of these things aren't really true,
Hmm.
trans in sports, and they've been running on that for the longest, which have made a lot of people be like, well, I feel, and it sounds bad the way that they make it sound bad, but when you really look at it and you break it down, like, you just can't take a kid and start giving a kid hormones. Like, you can't
Hmm.
start doing that.
Hmm.
Like, you can't do that. Like, and it has to go through doctors and parental consent and all that.
Mental health
Yeah,
counseling,
all
all of
of
that.
that is the same
Hmm.
way. Like, back when people used to get SRS surgeries and stuff like that. But my thing is, like, a lot of people are voting in those spaces because they feel like that they're gonna protect kids. Them people don't give a fuck about us, sister. They don't care about them kids who they putting on the pedestal and they want to protect. They don't give a fuck about us. They don't give a fuck about no black folks. I sat here and I watched this debate, and I watched that man say about immigration, and I hold on, I took notes. In my
I
notes,
love
I
your dining room, just
thank
FYI.
you, thank you. Yeah, I'm still working on my stuff here. This that's my son room
You're
over
welcome.
there, and my breakfast room. So I took notes, and on the notes I wrote when he said, I took notes when he said, "I'm going to seek retribution." As a president, see what Project 2025 does. If it's voted into the space, how they're trying to push it. That's right. It's Christian nationalism. If it's voted into space, how they're going to put it, it would give the president sole power, like a dictatorship. It
I
would
get
give him.
it.
We would never be able to get rid of this person,
Yeah,
like,
because
ever.
he wants to abolish Congress,
Yes.
the FBI. Like, I totally get it. And I saw somebody say, "Get her out of here." Trust me, I have to go. But I just know that my comments looked crazy, and we don't always have to agree. But I am definitely for my people.
Yeah.
I'm also bisexual,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
I grew up in a Seventh Day Adventist home with a 10-time Grammy Award winning gospel singing father. I knew I liked girls in elementary, but I knew I couldn't come home and say that. So while people are chewing me up, understand that I'm also speaking from a space of being one of those people. I also am a mother. I know y'all don't like to acknowledge me as such, but I am raising a black boy. And my son is asked to have his nails painted. I don't care. We've gotten all the way to the nail salon and he's freaked out and changed his mind. My dad's going to be mad, and I've not pressured him one way or the other. All I've said is, I'll deal with your dad. If you want to get your nails painted, that doesn't make you whatever. And I'll leave you guys with this. When that um, shooting happened in Orlando at that gay club. I can't remember the name of the
Post and
club.
post.
Pulse. I was in my first open lesbian relationship. And I came out on TV, but I didn't come out until I was 30. I've been with more women than I have been with men.
Oh.
And I say this confidently because my son knows that I love the shit out of him and I would lay my life on the line without thinking or blinking twice. If I could have come home and said, "This is who I am," my son would not be here today. Know that. That's one. Two, I came out at 30 because I knew at that point I was in my fourth season of television. I had gotten out of debt and I knew I would never have to go back home to my rich family.
Hmm.
I would never have to depend on them. So if they got mad and didn't support it, I was going to be okay either way. Three, when that situation at Pulse happened, my girlfriend at the time, who I was with for almost 4 years, lived together. The first relationship that I ever integrated my son into, at the time he was 6, almost 7, and he'd never met anyone that I had ever dated, ever, since he took his first breath January 8th, 2010. We were in the drive-thru at Wendy's, leaving his game. She picked a flower. She was driving. She picked a flower for me from her driver's side in the drive-thru before we got to the window. She handed me the flower. My son was in the back seat. He said, "You can't give my mom that flower. She's not gay." And I said, I panicked. And I threw the flower, I'm not going to lie, threw the flower out of the passenger window. And I said, "Cameron, how do you know what gay is?" And he said, "That man killed all those people in Florida because they were gay." And I said, "How do you know that? And he said, I saw it on the news at Ma's house. Ma's what he calls his dad's mom. And I said, well, how do you feel about that? No, I said, well, what is gay? And he said, it's when boys like boys. And I said, it's when girls like girls too. And he said, oh, I didn't know that. I said, well, what if mommy liked a girl? And he said, okay, well, then you like a girl. And I said, well, I like AD. And he could not process, because she was so masculine in her exterior, appearance. He could not figure it out. He kept calling her a he. He kept saying she looks like Justin Bieber. He couldn't gauge it, right? And so I eventually broke it down to him in preferences. The way he likes to wear his basketball shorts and his Jordans, and the way sometimes mommy likes to wear her dresses and her makeup and her wigs, but then sometimes she likes to match you. Well, AD likes to wear the same things that you wear, and that's her preference. But just because she dresses like that doesn't make her a boy. That was his first lesson in homosexuality. And I said, you do know, Cameron, that no matter what you believe, what that man did was wrong. And he said, yeah, Mom told me you're not supposed to hurt people just because they believe in God. At the time, this is a 6-year-old trying to relate to me that whether you're Christian, whether you're Jewish, whether you're black, whether you're white, whether you're gay, whether you're straight, whether you look like a boy or girl, whatever, it's not okay to hurt people because that's their preference, right? And so I think of my son coming to me and saying, I'm gay. And I think of my son coming to me and saying, I think I'm a girl. I would support him, but there's no way I'm signing off on hormones. There's no way I'm signing off on having a gender reassignment right now. Now, I will support you through the mental health aspect. Let's go to counseling. I want you to fully understand what this is because you're only 14. Now, when you hit 21 and the world is going to changes every day. Now, when you get to that point and you still feel like that, I will hold your hand. I will pay for it. I will walk you through. I will love you. I will support you unconditionally. I will do all of that. What you choose to like or what you identify as will never change my love for you as a mother, ever. And I've told my son that. So when I say the things I say about certain legislations, I'm thinking as a black mom to a black boy, as a black bisexual woman who grew up in a traditionally conservative Christian home, who knows what it feels like to not be able to live in her truth, who knows that the greatest gift that changed my life, my son, I never would have had that had I been able to just be me. But God, I believe in God, makes no mistakes. So I just look at it from all sides, and I just want all of our people to do that. So I don't ever want anyone of any community to feel like, oh, I'm this or I'm that, or I'm not. And I feel like we don't get enough education. So I want to
I,
give you your flowers because
I
you bring
don't
it.
I don't think that we do get enough education, but I also know that the Republicans are all the things that you want protected as a black mom, as a black woman, as bisexual. They 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 don't have any of that under protection for us. They don't have it.
A Democratic House and Senate does. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? If we're talking logistics and we're talking semantics, just let's remove our emotions and just deal with the facts. A blue House and a blue Senate, blue judges, blue DAs, but a red president, it's almost like balancing the scale.
No, and a red Supreme Court.
But we have to vote blue.
But the president appoints the Supreme Court.
Well, yes, that part. But see, by the time people get to the Supreme Court, they've gone through every state legislation, every city ordinance, there's a process, and you know that there's due process, and we don't always get due process. I'm aware of that as well, which is why I always, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm 37. Since I could vote, I've gone against what my family said was right. I've always voted for a Republican president. That is a fact. I've always voted for a Democratic House, a Democratic Senate, and a Democratic mayor.
But what makes you but what makes you want Trump though.
Um, again, I feel like I don't want to be attacked, but I don't like I don't like the immigration. I don't like it. I've never liked it. I've been passionate about that since I was in junior high.
But sister, listen, when this was one of the things that he said, and I wrote it down as a note from watching the debate. I wanted to know when the moderators asked, how is he going to take care of the immigration situation? What is he going to do? To me, it sounded like a lot of he went around so many ways and never answered the question. But from what's being proposed, this is like going to be concentration camps. This is going to be the Holocaust all over again. With
Do you remember during the pandemic it was that already? You don't remember they when Trump first like went gung ho about the wall and they were separating the kids and the moms and the men, and they were in cages, and it was alleged that they weren't feeding them. And I want to know how many black people actually got up and went and looked at that, because I did. San Diego's only 2.5 hours from me, and it wasn't that. With my own two eyeballs, I can tell you it wasn't that. The intake, yes, was that. Because I went down there with supplies, I went down there with my own money, I went down there to tell myself and be honest with myself, if this is what they say it is, you're foul as fuck for voting the way that you vote. And I went there fully prepared to, I don't got to confess my iniquities to anybody but God. I went there fully prepared to take self accountability, and it was not that. And I think agendas get pushed on both sides. Just like
oh
there
well,
are
I
industry
believe that.
politics, there are political politics. And I think that one always makes the other one look. And I think it's up to us to not just do our research, but to get in the field. Who got in the field?
Sister, I love you, but I ain't voting Trump. I can't
And
do it.
I don't think you should. I think you should vote for who you want.
Yeah, I can't
100%.
do it. You know what I'm saying? But and it's just like because especially me being black, like even though I'm trans and all, and I'm black and trans at the same time, and like me being black, knowing the things that I've read about how these people want to give power to the police to just be able without any repercussions to do whatever it is that they want to do. And then if this Project 2025 thing comes into fruition, th-
It would be terrible. It would be
yes,
terrible.
it
It
would
would, and
be.
I'm not denying that. Multiple things can be true at once. I feel like Project 25 is some bullshit. 100 fucking percent. I don't negate that. I just have to have faith that people will educate themselves and vote properly, and that's it. I gotta go. But to the person who said it wasn't the border problem wasn't San Diego, it was Texas. It was both. And I don't live in Texas, and as you know, during the pandemic, you couldn't travel by plane like that. So I got in my car and drove the 3 hours. That's what I did. So I can only speak from what I did. I can't, and you might be right, in Texas, it might have been way worse. But I didn't see Texas. I saw the San Diego, California border. And I know what I saw, and I know what I experienced. I know what I donated. I know what I gave, and I never promoted that, y'all. I wasn't on live when I did that, and I go live for a lot of shit. I never tweeted about it. I never posted about it on my Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, none of that shit. I just did it, and I felt at peace with the way that I voted, and that was for me. Just like our good sis TS, Madison is going to vote for who she wants to vote for, and I
Yeah,
will
I
never
mean,
love her any less. I will never not get on her lives and support. I will never not donate. I donate anonymously every time she goes. I will never not do those things. I will never not support anything she wants to do. We have a difference in opinion, and that is life. And y'all got to stop taking that as drama or clout chasing or this person wants to. No. Everybody's different. No two people see eye to eye. That doesn't make it drama. We're individuals. And we can still love each other through the differences. And I feel like as a community, that's our fucking problem.
Yeah, that is. But when we really talk about politics and the way that government governs, all of us as a people, I, and I know that we never are all going to agree on all the same things. But it's just I just know that what I'm afraid for as a black person, like what I'm so afraid for as a black person, and I know that watching this debate and then knowing and living through the whole pandemic and all this stuff and watching how America was so divided, when we had this person in the office before, like America was so divided, it was so heavy. He gave so much energy, just his presence being there in the office gave so much energy to white people who were racist. It just empowered
Well,
white people.
they were always racist. We were always divided. The only thing Trump gave them, it wasn't something that they didn't already have. The only thing he gave them was the audacity to do it out loud. It wasn't anything that wasn't already going, and that's another thing that I had to sit with. Like, did he really embed racism into the U.S., into the nation,
No, I mean
or
he
has
did.
that always been a thing, and he just emboldened people?
Yeah, it's always been a thing, but it's just that his presence, especially after us having 8 years of a black president, and for him walking in as a white man, saying that we're gonna make America great again. Obama's 8 years were great. There were things, there was up and down. Like no administration is perfect, but
Hmm.
you come in after a black president and you say we're gonna make America great again. In that statement alone, let me know exactly what he meant by that. We're gonna make America great again. Like, and this definitely empowered, and encouraged, like someone said, a lot of bigotry, a lot of rape. It just these people were coming out more and more and more. And if you don't remember, Trump wasn't even letting black folks
Yeah,
in his
to
in
the
his
Trump Towers,
building, in
and
the Trump Towers.
he was also paying the mafia $19,000 a year when he was building or a month when he was building the Trump Towers, because at the time the mafia controlled the entire union, cement companies, trucking companies. I've done like when I say studied, I have studied, and I do believe in there being a lesser of the two evils, and it's just my personal opinion that with a predominantly Democratic House and Senate and mayors and judges and DAs, I do believe that a Republican president, Medi-Cal and Medicaid and the FBI and all that shit, Congress, they don't do shit for us anyway as black people already. What the fuck do we get from that? Nothing. Nothing. We get absolutely nothing. Medi-Cal and Medicaid barely covers anything. It for no matter who you are, no matter what color you are, no matter what your sexual identity is, it's not covering much of shit. So we can start with that. The FBI is not coming for little black girls and little brown girls or trans people or gay people or queer people. They're not. They don't give a fuck until they put one of them in there for diversity purposes and political agendas. Other than that, when the cameras go down and the election is over, they're off to protecting the people that they want to protect. So there, to me, is a lesser of the two evils. And we're already living in the Hunger Games. This is the purge. Welcome to the fucking Hunger Games, motherfucker. And I told all my followers, predominantly black people, I said, if Trump doesn't win this election, his re-election, I'm going to tell you what the last thing he's going to do is he's going to turn this fucking real estate market upside the fuck down as a big fat fuck you. Don't take this moratorium as a get out of jail free card to not pay your rent, pay your mortgage, because when it's all said and done, you can either survive, you can either afford to survive, or you can't. And that's just the bottom line. Trump didn't want to give niggas that money. That was a Democratic Democratic House and a Democratic Senate that did that. And yet everybody thinks, oh, Trump gave us the, oh, Trump. No, Trump didn't do that. The
No,
Democrats did that.
they gave us stimulus money.
You're
Yes,
right.
the
And
stimulus. Yes.
they gave the stimulus, and they're the ones that came up with the moratorium package, and they're the ones that came up with the EIDL, and they're the ones that came up with the PPP. That wasn't a Republican. The Republicans didn't want to give niggas shit. I'm also very well aware of that. But now we're talking about somebody who can barely stay awake. He's shaking the hands of invisible people on the stage who aren't there. He forgets what he's saying when he says it. And quite frankly, I also have a family member that worked under the Biden administration. I say a lot of things and I say a lot without saying much at all. So
Well. Here's what I think that America is truly afraid of. America is truly afraid. That man is 81 years old. If he died tomorrow during his presidency, now we have a black woman president. So that's
what has he done?
well. I think that people think that the Biden administration really hasn't done anything because during the Trump administration, it was everything was social media. It was he was
There was a frenzy, for sure.
he spent a lot of time being a character and being like what Joe and Kamala have been doing is working. They've been working.
You know that Kamala and Biden passed a bill before they got to presidency and vice presidency that led to like the deaths of many, many, many black men. I think people forget that part. They weren't for the people. Biden was not for the people till we got a black president and it was convenient.
Well,
I think people forget that. I think if people look up all the legislations that Biden and Kamala had passed before they got to this point, they might feel differently. And that was what changed my mind. Was actually doing my research on all of the candidates. And when that happened, I was like, oh shit. I looked that up and I was like, well, that's nuts. Mass incarceration for black men. They were totally okay with the death penalty. I think like people forget or don't know about a lot of that stuff. But I'm definitely not slow. Furthest thing from drunk. I am exhausted. I know what I
hold
know. I've
on.
done my research. I'm
Oh,
not
let me see. Oh, Craig
little.
is on here too. Let me add Craig. Hold on.
Don't leave
Uh,
or leave. I have to another truck to unload.
okay.
Yeah, but I am gonna watch because
Watch, cause I'm
there
gonna add Craig, and cause Craig, we just did the Don Lemon show. Listen, here's how I feel. Like I'm
I
not.
love John Lemon.
Yeah, I just did a show tonight. That's why I'm.
Craig said I'm flawed, and Craig is entitled to his opinion, and I would never disrespect Craig because he felt that way.
Yeah, but this is the thing. Like, right, and Craig, don't come on here. When I bring you on
Oh,
here, everybody has a right to how they feel, and this is what's going
you
on
guys,
right now.
I can stay for Craig. I don't
Let
mind.
me see. I'm
Y'all
trying to.
y'all
How
hate me
do I
so
get?
much. I was gonna leave,
Like, how do I? Okay, cause
and
how do you?
if you
Craig,
click
hold
the
on.
arrow at the
Oh,
top,
Craig, I can't add because Craig, are you still blocked from going live?
oop,
Because it won't let me add you.
or you could click. Sometimes my live does that.
Yeah, no,
Click
no,
the
because
arrow
he
at the top.
he's been blocked. So what he needs to get on on the Fag Talk page that we got. We do our Fag Talk show. He needs to get on the Fag Talk page, and then I can bring him in on that.
You guys, I'm not
Oh, he
running.
say he
I'm
going to bed. He say he going to bed. Sister, go on and unload your truck. We'll pick it
okay.
up tomorrow,
Yeah,
child.
I gotta drive. I gotta drive from this spot all the way back to Calabasas, and the guys are waiting to unload the truck.
All right.
I will definitely. I would have definitely stayed. I don't. I'm not running from Craig.
Oh,
Craig.
there you go. Craig on here. Hold on.
Okay.
Let me see. Well, why the hell?
Well, Did you click the arrow at the top?
I think it's down here at the bottom. That's the
Yeah, but
request to
sometimes
join.
that doesn't
Oh,
work.
there you go.
Sometimes it's
I got it. Here you
okay.
go. Boom.
Wrap around a tree. That's terrible to say. My cousin died like that. March 28th, 2021. I pray
I,
that's never my reality.
Craig, there you
Hi.
go. Hey, Craig. Craig, don't come in.
Hi.
Now you
Nice,
know we already going through this other
Girl, I
shit.
ain't
Don't start.
nice,
going through a motherfucking thing.
nice to meet you. I love you on Fact
Thank
Talk.
you. Nice.
I wasn't
Come on, Craig,
running.
let's go.
I
Before you
wasn't
just
running. I wasn't running from you. I didn't.
No, I didn't think you were running. I heard what you were saying. I don't know how long you guys were talking before I jumped in. I did hear you say that you you know why you're going to vote. Well, I haven't really heard why you want to vote for Trump. I don't know. They're saying in the comments that you have a little boy, that you have a son.
14.
Like when I think about that, like I think about little brown boys.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Especially what's happening in this country with the police departments around this country and what he's allowed to happen during his administration. So I can't even fathom voting for someone who doesn't give a damn who wouldn't give a damn about my son, my child. The way that he had Hispanic children in cages at the border, and like when he spoke about mass incarceration and the way that Biden voted when he was in Congress, it's like, sir, you wouldn't even allow black people to rent from you in New York City. He took out a full-page ad in the newspaper in New York when he thought that those young boys killed and raped that white woman in Central Park. Like, I can't even imagine any woman voting in his direction. I can't imagine any immigrant voting in his direction. I can't imagine any Jewish person voting in his direction, any queer person voting in his direction. I don't understand it. I really don't. Unless it's, and I'm not saying that this is you, unless it's a person who's voting in his direction because of their own self-interested or their own self-interest in terms of like taxes
Chris,
for
yes.
tax purposes.
I mean,
You
cause,
know what I
cause,
mean?
cause Craig and I joked about this today. Cause when on the debate, we
Tell them
talked
what you
about
said.
how they were
Tell
gonna.
them what you said.
Well, I was like, girl, honey, we're the wealthy girl. Girls, they're gonna get the girls. They're trying to trying to charge us an extra 6%. You know, for
Yeah,
us making over
I am voting.
$400,000.
I am.
Like
And
I
my
make.
thing is, and even with that, like in good conscience, I could not vote for him just to save myself money.
Yeah, I couldn't do it either. Cause I
I'm.
was looking at them saying people that make over $400,000, they're gonna start making them pay an additional 6% tax. And I'm like, bitch, I make over 400,000 motherfucking dollars, girl. So it's
Yeah.
just like, but
Um. I think that the tax incentives. I'm not. And now here's where I do disagree. But here's where I have learned from a Jewish accountant, wealth manager, realtor, um, publicist, um, bosses, and networks how to move that money around and make the money work for me, and really make the system work for me. And I know that that's not everybody's reality,
Mhm.
and I know that not everyone has those resources. I do think about my son, which is why I vote blue for, like I said, judges, DAs, House, Senate, Congress. Um, I do vote blue for that, and I am voting for Trump for a certain self-serving reason. And
I mean, that's really what I want to hear. I want to hear
yeah,
what
my
what
taxes
what
for
is your draw
sure.
to him.
My taxes for sure. I just built a house from the ground up. That shit was no fucking joke. And when you hit the top 3%, I'm sorry, that 1%, here's what I don't think is fair. What I don't think is fair is that there are 3 tiers to the top 1% of earners, and you guys know this. And when I was at the bottom of that that the 3% of whatever, I hated the fact that I was supposed to pay just as many taxes as the 1% of the top earner, but I wasn't making what they were making. But I also didn't have the knowledge that they had. Now I do. So now I get it. And now I get how to play the game. I want to play too. One. Two, um, I know what money can do um, for my black son. I know what money can do for me. I was born into it. And so for me, remove Trump, insert Mr. Plant. I would still be voting for Mr. Plant as a president, and also the immigration laws. I don't
It's the immigration for her, Craig. It's the
Sorry,
immigration.
my phone rang. So I don't, and I have felt strongly about this since junior high,
It's the
which I
immigration for her, Craig. She
yeah, and
said
I've
the
always felt conflicted about that because we grew up. Each one of us had. I have a brother and a sister that I was raised with. We each had a nanny, Imelda, Saveda, Jennifer. Imelda and Saveda were Latin. Jennifer was white. Um, Imelda still cleans my house twice a week to this day. My grandmother's house, just everybody. She's still in the family. She lived with us from the time I was 6, so I was a teenager. Um, my parents did save her from deportation, um, so she pretty much raised me. She cannot go home right now because even when her mom passed during the pandemic, she wasn't able to go home because she was afraid she couldn't get back in. But I sent the money home to her family for whatever it was that, they needed. But I don't, and I never have been okay with the immigrants. I've always fucking hated it. And I'll tell you why I hate it. I hate it with my whole soul because when I pull up to McDonald's, I didn't order a vanilla shake. I ordered a vanilla shake. That's one. Two, I don't like seeing women who are born here, whose ancestors were enslaved here, and when they go down to the county, they can't get the fucking assistance that they need. They're turned away. But you can come over here, pop some fucking kids out. And I went to a very predominant school. And why am I sitting in advanced placement classes and honors classes and fucking so and so over here is asking to cheat off my test or borrow my homework? No, bitch. I studied for this. My parents made me study for this. What the fuck are you even doing in this class? How'd you get here? And what is going on? Like, and so then it got to the point where they actually stopped busing kids in from the inner city to our schools. And I was over the moon about it. I cannot lie. And I'm tired of like giving these politically correct answers. I hate it. I really fucking hate it because I feel like it
I
takes
think
away from
I,
our
I
people.
I guess my question though now is, so you're willing to overlook everything else that he stands for because of this, because of how you feel about immigration?
It's not just immigration. It's my taxes. It's
she
what I
said it's immigration, it's taxes. She doesn't believe in children being able to
Right.
transition young.
But the question then becomes, what about the greater good? Because
can
money
we all
can't
take some
protect.
accountability and be responsible? How about don't run
What
around
I'm
getting
saying is,
pregnant?
what I'm saying is, what about the greater good? There are elderly people who can't even eat every month because he slashed benefits, not even just because of um, prescription drugs and things like that that a lot of these people rely on, but also because they don't even have food stamps.
And
They
that's
can't even get food
but
stamps.
that's my point. So I want the immigrants out of here because
But
that
that's
was I feel
but
like
that's
it
not but
takes
that's
away from
but
our
that but you're
people.
but see you're absorbing exactly what he wants you to absorb. He wants you to believe that it's the immigrants
But
that's
I have
causing all of this to
felt
happen.
like this, Craig, since junior high school. When I was in my politics class, I have felt like this. I could never say anything. Just like I could never come home and say, I know I like girls. I couldn't do that because I was raised in a Seventh-day Adventist home. I had to think about my dad who won 10 Grammys for singing gospel. That didn't become irrelevant to me until I was 30. And I knew I was never going to have to go home no matter how hard it got. I was never going to have to depend on my rich parents or grandparents. I was just going to live my life, eat pussy, do what I want to do. I know I'm on Love in Hip Hop. I know that's embarrassing to my family and the legacy my dad built, but I am who I am. They're going to love me or they're not going to fucking love me. And I feel like that with the public. I don't want to dance around the issue. I feel how I feel, and and I have felt these things before I realize that I too have the right to have a voice. Growing up in a black home, I don't give a fuck what your sexual orientation is. It's do as I say, not as I do. Because I'm your mom, because I said so, because I'm the parent, because I'm the adult, because I pay the bills. And we grow up with this mindset of our feelings don't deserve validation before a certain age, before
You
a
do
certain
know under
social status.
Project, but you do know under Project 2025 there is no LGBTQ anything.
And I realize that, and I have to think about that. Like I was telling Maddie, my son has asked me to have his nails painted. My son has put my heels on and posed and asked me to take pictures. of him. He's 8, and that he was 8 at that time, literally, legit. And I still, so I'm not just saying this from like a random. I think about that, right? But I also think about the fact that, like I said to Maddie, if my son came to me today and said, "I want to be a girl," I would not. If he said my name is not Cameron anymore, it's Cammy, I, I would say, okay, you want the extensions, you want the fucking press-ons, you want to wear the dress. I wouldn't care. I wouldn't love him any less, but I would never allow him to take hormone blockers. I would not allow him to have a gender reassignment. I would not allow him to fully transition until he was an adult, because the world changes and I want him to be certain. This isn't a tattoo. We can't get it removed if you change your mind, right? So I'm for that type of legislation. I'm not saying that I'm not for
And
those rights.
those kinds of freedoms are definitely not under
That
the Trump
that's a
administration.
risk that I'm willing to take, because I know I can afford to do what my son, if that's something he wanted to do, we could do it.
You may be able to afford it, but you'd have to pack your things and
And,
leave this country
Yes,
because you would
that's
not be
something
able to live here.
and that's something I'm willing to do for my child, though. And that's what I'm saying. There's a
yeah, but
sacrifice.
it's
And I said it's balancing the scales.
But I
I'm
think,
willing to go
but
the
I think that
extra
that's
mile.
unfair. But I think that that's unfair. So because, for example, if you vote Trump, and let's just say he gets into office, and all of these things that we're saying will come to pass, and then you pack your things and leave because it's not what you expected. That's not fair for the people who can't get up and leave.
It wouldn't
You
be.
help make you help make it happen, but then you abandon the country.
I wouldn't leave because of anything other than my child wants to do something that's not covered under these laws, and I'll be damned if I lose my son because he decides he wants to this or he wants to that. That's the only thing that would make me leave.
But peaceful protesting isn't even going to be allowed under his
nothing,
administration.
none of that. And like
When
the
have we ever
control.
seen a peaceful protest, though? And this is what I'm saying. Like, when has a protest, black people looted other black businesses during Black Lives Matter?
Well, we can go beyond. We can go before Black Lives Matter. Martin Luther King, the whole Selma, Alabama march over that bridge, the Edmund Pettus Bridge. That was peaceful.
Yeah,
White people
That
and
was
police were
peaceful. When you talk about the
right.
Compton riots and Rodney King, that was black people looting black business. So it's always, we could go toe to toe for everything. There's
Well, that
always an
was that. Well, that.
opposition.
But what happened after Rodney King wasn't protesting. That was looting and rioting, and that was in response to what had
And
happened in California,
I
in Los
agree, but
Angeles.
guess what? Under the First Amendment, right, and this amendment and that amendment and this constitutional law and that constitution, it was considered a protest by law. And I think we have to start, like I was saying to Maddie, like if we removed our emotions, and this is what I'm learning in law school,
But I
I
think that's
can't
where your
be.
emotions are. Your emotions are tied into this whole idea that immigrants are taking this from you, and
No, that's not
your
an
emotions are
emotion.
tied into.
That's not an emotion for me. I have felt that and believed that since I was a child. The same
How
way
is
I knew
that feeling any different from white folks who feel like we're taking up too much space in their country?
it's not. It's a feeling, and everyone's entitled to their feeling. And
Okay.
feelings aren't always rooted in an emotion. Sometimes
So what
people,
happened on January 6th? Was that January 6th at the
I
Capitol?
feel like January 6th was a culmination and a combination of things. And I feel like January 6th, I feel like Nancy Pelosi and both Trump need to take certain levels of accountability. 100%. I feel like Nancy's statements after that, when you hear the recording of Nancy and when you read the transcripts of what she said, I feel like she took a certain level of accountability. I feel like Trump did not take enough accountability. 100%. I feel like a president is a fall guy. The president is your lawyer. The president is your manager. The president is the bad guy. The president is, you send your lawyer in when you don't want to gig, when you don't want to do something, and your management is the fall person. Your lawyer is the fall. Let us deal with it. You just stay back here, right? The president is the one in the forefront. Now we can clown Trump all day, and he is ridiculous.
we
100%. I think he's hilarious, and not when he's not even trying to be, he's just ridiculous, right? But I do agree with some of his policies, one. And two, I feel like at the end of the fucking day, it's gonna go one of two ways. And I'd rather be on the side that is going to benefit the majority or the minority then is going to benefit the majority. And that's just me being truthful.
And
I'm not going to
you think voting
lie.
for Trump? You think voting for Trump benefits the minority?
When I say the minority, I don't mean in color. I mean the minority in who actually,